This morning I'm going for a bit of a bike ride up into the mountains. It should be some fun, riding by myself into an area I've only been once and only part of the way. I want to go and explore the rest of this road that heads up to Doi Inthanon. The road that I've decided to travel today wraps around the back of our village and alongside the national park and then disappears up this valley. Up the valley there is a landmark rock. It's known as the head of the tiger and is visible from a long way away. The ride up this valley is roughly 24 kilometres from our place to where the road meets the 1009, which is the main road going up Doi Inthanon. But first I had to stop at my local mechanic. I wanted him to check the oil and he asked me where I was going today. I told him, so he also checked my brakes, added some oil to my chain, checked my pressure in my tyres and sent me on my way. So once I was away from the local villages, I passed the ranger station and disappeared up into the valley. And I was expecting a bit of an adventure. I have ridden this road before partway, but today I really wanted to go and see if I could join up with the 1009. Along this road there are a couple of Karen villages, rather small little settlements, so it's not completely deserted, but I wasn't expecting to see much traffic. And I did make a longer version of this video where you can see the whole road without any sped up sections, and also where I share my thoughts of my first experiences solo travelling way back in the 1980s. So if you're enjoying this, please also do check out that other video. I'll leave a link in the description below. So I was pretty confident that the road was good for a good part of the ride, but I wasn't sure. I'd asked a number of people, and I don't think any of the locals have been up here for a long time, and they were not sure if the road was sealed. At this point I just wasn't sure, but just enjoying the ride, taking it slowly. My little motorcycle was just chugging along finally, straining a little bit here and there. It gets pretty steep, so sort of struggling along in first gear some of the time. But I was feeling quite good about it. It was sounding nice, the brakes were feeling good. There was no unusual noises happening, and I was just enjoying taking in the scenery and thinking about where I was travelling, always being really vigilant on the road, particularly in areas like this where there's a lot of dust and silt on the road at this time of the year in the dry season. And this can be very dangerous because it's very easy for your motorcycle to lose traction and slide out from under you on a paved road with this amount of dust on it. So just taking my time and doing it carefully and enjoying stopping along the way here and there to fly my drone and to make some video and to capture some of the beauty of this mountain ride from an aerial perspective. So here you can see on the larger map the distance we are from Chiang Mai City and the route that I was taking. I wasn't sure if I was going to come back down this way or if I would come back down the main road. Getting a little bit more interesting here. We've just lost the concrete road, the sealed road, and now we're into some territory that it's just a dirt road and fairly steep and fairly dusty at this time of the year. I've just come to this really steep incline, so I thought I'd take a bit of a walk and have a look. Looks okay. The good thing about it is that there's no traffic, so I can just take my time, and yeah, the road seems fairly stable. Not a lot of rocks or anything, but it's just a lot of fine dust, so I'll just have to be really careful. Take it slowly, but it's absolutely gorgeous up here. It's so peaceful, and it is just lovely, quiet and cool, so good fun. And here's another view of the whole route up the mountain from our place that continues on until it joins the 1009, and from that point I was sure that if I wanted to come back down the 1009 the road would be good. It's a very well kept piece of road. And it seemed to be that the road was pretty good most of the time. Just in a few patches it was a little bit dodgy, a little bit difficult. A few times I managed to get sort of trapped in the rut, but then just slowly pulled my way out of it and carried on. But really paying attention, really focused on the direction that I was taking and where I was putting the bike. Some of these downhill bits were kind of challenging. Some of these bridges were pretty dodgy. And I'd begun already to think about coming back down this way. It's okay going up, mostly. Some of it was a bit difficult, some of it was a bit challenging. Sometimes having to stop and readjust. And I was beginning to think about returning on the same road, coming back down the hill like this, and was getting a bit worried about it because of the amount of dust and silt on the road, that I was concerned about not being able to manage riding downhill in these conditions, because I didn't think that the bike would have enough traction, certainly didn't have the right tyres for it. And was kind of thinking, should I stop or should I continue? But I pressed on, because in the back of my mind I knew that I could always change my mind. I didn't have to come back down this road because I knew that it would join up with the main road that goes up the mountain eventually, once I got right around the other side of the head of the tiger. So I just kept on going. So as I'm riding, I'm stopping a little bit more frequently now, just assessing things, checking things out, taking stock of where I'm at, what's ahead of me. Seems to be getting a bit more shady as I get into the forest a bit more. There's less farming happening up here. But the way ahead seems to be, pretty good. The track's getting a bit rougher. There's a lot of leaves on the ground now that are in the ruts, so I'm not really sure how deep any of those ruts are, so I really need to avoid them, because the leaves could be hiding rocks or anything like this. And then I did see this one guy coming past me at this point, as I was really just growing more concerned about what the state of the road was going to be like further up. But he was somebody else coming down, so I thought, it must be passable. He didn't look like he was in any stress or having any problem with his travels. And as he got closer to me, I saw his shirt and just chuckled to myself at the message that it gave me, that it was written, "Don't quit." So I carried on. I took that as a sign and continued to make my way up the mountain. So here I am continuing to travel up the side of the mountain under the head of the tiger and getting into some mishap there. The bike just got in a rut and the back spun out. There's a bit of loose gravel there and I just lost it. Wasn't quite sure what to do. I needed my hand on the brake, but it was also twisting the throttle, so the back wheel was just spinning. I ended up spinning around. So I thought, okay, I'll just sort of head back down to that little knoll there and take a breather, take a break, enjoy the scenery for a bit and reassess that piece of the road because it looked a bit dodgy. It had some gravel laid down on it recently that was really loose, and then as I continued on I assessed the situation and I was so focused on what I was doing and getting up that stretch of road I forgot to turn the camera back on. So here we are a little bit further on, continuing carefully along the way and hoping that I don't get into any more difficulties. But it wasn't too bad, no speed involved, just dropped the bike slightly, gently, didn't break anything, didn't even so much as graze a knee or a knuckle. It's a fabulous day, really wonderful new experience to be out on my bike like this, that I haven't travelled like this before at all, and was really thankful, really excited actually that this little Honda 100cc Honda Dream was progressing so well and doing so well in these challenging conditions. I think I'm probably a little bit inexperienced and maybe too old to want to gain the experience of riding roads like this frequently. I'll be more inclined to want to stick to roads that are paved, but I do enjoy the adventure. I do enjoy getting out into unforeseen circumstances and just having a go of it. Not too far away from civilization, not too far away from any difficulty. I didn't actually stop and think to see if I had any cell phone connection, but most places in Thailand you can get cell phone connection these days, so wasn't really worried about it. And there were signs of farming and activity up this way, and it looked like there has been some amount of traffic, not very much, but the road looked like that there's bikes, certainly motorbikes up and down there every day. But I really was getting a bit concerned about coming back down this road because now for quite a few kilometres it had been unpaved and pretty dodgy. So by this stage I was thinking once I hit the sealed road again, I'm not going to turn back. I'll take it all the way up to the 1009, which is the main road going up to the summit of Doi Inthanon, and turn back down and ride my way back home on the paved road, the wide and well kept road all the way, rather than coming back down this dusty dirt and gravel road that is quite rutted and very challenging. One part of the road that I'd looked at on the map that was higher up and I was a little concerned about, particularly after losing the sealed surface. I did not know whether this area of zigzags of these hairpin turns was going to be sealed or not, or how steep it was going to be. Thankfully it was sealed and it wasn't too steep, so it was actually a very enjoyable part of the ride. And as I continued on my journey, as I rode a little bit further, I was very happy to discover that the sealed road was back again. It was a concrete road, and this was quite a relief to me. And just as I hit the concrete, my battery on this little action camera that I was using for making the video died. So that was the end of the video aspect of our journey, unfortunately. But I had a few more kilometres concrete road and then joined up with another road that was wider and really well sealed, and so by the time I hit that zigzag patch that I'd seen on the map, the road was really good and actually quite easy to navigate. I was concerned that I was going to be trying to navigate this series of hairpin bends on a rutted dirt road, and I wasn't really looking forward to that so much, so having it paved was a great relief. Then I just carried on a few more kilometres of quite easy riding, very pleasant riding up in the cool air and the beautiful lush green forest. It's definitely not so dry and brown up at that higher altitude. And the road that I was on then connected with the main road that goes up the mountain. just north of the Hmong market that's there. So I headed back down, stopped for some lunch at the Hmong village that is where the Royal Project Gardens are, and made my way back home. And it was such a fabulous ride. It was so good. I was pretty tired at the end of it. The next day I woke up and I felt like I'd had a good workout the day before. Like I said earlier, I'm probably a bit too old to start really learning and wanting to get the experience on roads like this, so in the future I'll be making videos hopefully from paved roads. It was a whole lot of fun, and I do want to continue exploring our surroundings and just enjoy making videos. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you'd like to see more from our channel here, please check out this video next. Thanks very much for watching, and if you've got any comments, please leave them below. Cheers.